Hello and welcome. My name is Stephanie Dawn, and my friends and colleagues refer to me as a radical detox goddess, and you're about to hear all about that in a moment. I'm really excited to be here with my friend and colleague, Marlo Bassett. And Marlo is someone that I met several years ago. And I want to share the story about how it was that I came to connect with Marlo, because I think it's really important. So for those of you that know me, you know that I received a breast cancer diagnosis 4 years ago. It's coming up on 4 years. I can't believe it. And I'm so grateful and happy that I am alive to tell the tale. I made the decision almost immediately to heal the appearance of cancer in my body naturally. I'm a longtime spiritual counselor and coach, and I knew that our thoughts matter, and that we must believe in whatever treatment we're doing in order for it to work. And for me, the sort of standard pathway of healing of chemotherapy, radiation, surgery was not my pathway. And so I really made some very powerful decisions to change my life and my diet and my lifestyle. And I moved up here to Bainbridge Island. You can see the trees behind me here. And to heal with my family and in the forest. So I live on an island, and it's one big forest, really. It's apparently I've been told that it's the size of Manhattan, which I think is fascinating, because if you drove from where I live to the top of the island, it's all trees. So anyways, I'm very grateful to be alive and to be healthy. And there's still things that I'm working on in terms of my healing and my health journey. But about, I don't know, pretty early on in living up here on Bainbridge Island, I was deep into a heavy metal detox protocol. Right around the time that I received the breast cancer diagnosis, I experienced some severe migraine headaches. And when I say severe, I'm talking 1 to 3 times a week that would put me out for 2 to 3 hours. I had to cancel all of my appointments, and just really took me out. And I'd never had headaches before, and I'd never had migraine headaches before. So this was very unusual. And uh, I endured those headaches for about a year, the entire year that I was working with Hope for Cancer in Mexico, which is this beautiful anti-cancer facility down in Tijuana, until my final Hope for Cancer follow-up experience. I was having dinner the night before I was about to get, the CT scan and the PET scan and all of that. And I was sitting around chatting with these women at dinner who were also down there for their follow-ups from all over the nation. And we started talking about heavy metal toxicity. And all of a sudden, the lights went on in my mind about the importance of what was happening with my left eye. And because the migraine headaches were stemming from behind the left eye. And sure enough, in the next scans that I had the next day, they found a lesion on the optic nerve of my eye. And I went to see a neurologist up in the States after that visit, and he had nothing to tell me about what was going on. But my dear friend Rachel, who knows Marlo, we together were fairly certain that it was heavy metal toxicity, and particularly mercury. And so, and who knows what else, right? But I dove into a heavy metal detox protocol for the next 6 months, and the migraines went away. So I know that my own diagnosis was correct, but what continued to persist was what I would call nighttime migraines. They would wake me up in the middle of the night, and it was this pulsing, throbbing behind my left eye, and then I'd toss and turn for several hours. And the only way that I could get back to sleep was with cannabis, which is the only time that I ever use cannabis. I'm not a casual cannabis user, but that was what I needed in order to get back to sleep and be able to wake up and have a decent day the next day, working and being of service, etc. So during that whole year, at some point, the lights went on for me, And I contacted Rachel and I realized that I had been cooking on toxic cookware while I was in the middle of this heavy metal detox. And I'm like, well, this is stupid. What am I doing? Even though the cookware was ceramic from Italy, it was nonstick. And, I was in denial until I wasn't. You know how that goes. And so I reached out to Rachel. I said, Rachel, you need to connect me with Marlo. So I'm really excited to be bringing you to my friend Marlo Bassett tonight. And I want to tell you a little bit about Marlo. She is a lifelong ballerina who makes the most gorgeous dance outfits I think I've ever seen. She's an artist as well. And her path to creating optimal performance in life led her down a path to learn about food as medicine, similar to me. She began learning about plant-based nutrition 15 years ago and explored many different cleansing modalities. And then 8 years ago, she healed an autoimmune nervous system condition through the healing power of food. She's currently a nutritional chef and educator with Salad Master, which you're going to be hearing a little bit more about tonight, and is celebrating 10 years with the company. That's a long time. Marlo loves to cook beautiful, healthy, delicious food for friends and family. And she says here, food is love made visible. And I absolutely agree. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight, Marlo.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. So exciting.
Yeah. So, I have a mission to get the word out about the toxins in our food and in our kitchens. And I know that you do as well. And so I wondered if you'd be willing to share a little bit more about your personal story that, I just alluded to here in your bio, and what happened for you and how did you find Salad Master and go, oh my gosh, I need this in my kitchen. Will you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was first introduced to the product 13 years ago. And at the time, I was living with my then boyfriend, now husband, Jan, his mom. And we were living with her up in Ukiah, up in the hills. We were doing a lot of cleansing. We were growing food. We have orchards up there and gardens, and just doing all the work to be as healthy as possible. And I had just left living in the city, which felt very toxic, and just the lifestyle was totally different. And I was trying to reset my nervous system and just get really healthy and live on the land. And then we met this woman, Isis, who came and cooked for us. And we were shocked by how toxic our cookware was. And it was literally life-changing because we thought we were doing so good. I mean, we were doing everything right, growing the food, putting all this energy, time, money into having the highest quality food. And we didn't even realize that we were, first of all, getting metals in the food, but also killing almost all the nutrition in the food. So it was definitely life-changing to learn about the product. We invested in it and we're really happy customers, like in love with it. We're just like telling everyone like, oh my God, this is the best. Everyone should have this. Like, it's life-changing because it also saves you time in the kitchen. And when I moved to Marin, like 3 years later with Jan, we didn't have the cookware because his mom had invested in the set. So then we were like, okay, well, we need to figure out how we're going to get ourselves the cookware. So I hosted an event, and a big part of what they do in Salad Master is educating about toxic cookware, because nobody is out there doing that education. And it's a really big service, I believe, that what we do. And so if anyone that's on the call or watching the replay, if you want to learn more, we can set up a virtual demo where I can help you test your cookware for toxins. That's part of one of the things that I do. Oh yeah, I'm seeing questions.
Yeah,
So,
we'll get there, Marcia.
We'll get there. Okay. Yeah, so that's that story. And then, I was cooking in Salad. We joined the business 10 years ago. I had community in Marin, and I was like, I really want to just share this information with people. And I think, and being an entertainer, a performer, I actually was extremely afraid of public speaking. So it actually really made me push my edge to be in personal development as well, to become comfortable speaking in front of people. And so me and Jan were doing that. We actually planned a big international wedding, and I was doing my wedding dress, like customizing it using a lot of glues, a lot of like toxic glues.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we got back from our wedding, we actually went on the Green River in Utah, which was an amazing trip, but I wasn't sleeping well. It was just like backpacking, sleeping for like 9 days. Got back from that trip and I went into this full crazy health crisis. I got this autoimmune condition. My whole left side of my face was paralyzed. I'm pretty sure it had to do with all the glues, and just I was really stressed at the time, just planning a wedding and like not sleeping a lot, not really fully taking care of myself, not necessarily cooking all the time either, because I was so busy that I wasn't creating the time to like care for myself. And so when that health crisis happened, well, it was basically getting shingles on my seventh cranial nerve.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I had the shingles pain. I don't know if anyone's ever had shingles, but it's when you have it up in this part of the spine, it's super dangerous and it can affect all the facial nerves. And so my whole left side of the face was paralyzed. I got misdiagnosed. They thought I had Bell's palsy, which is like a common, your face will go paralyzed, but I had additional like nerve, extremely painful, like shooting pains that were happening. I also got tinnitus, the ringing of the ears. My eye wouldn't shut. I had to manually close the eye for moisture. It was so dry. And it was months, it was like not gonna just go away overnight. And this was like very, very scary for me because I had never dealt with anything like this. And I didn't really know what was happening, why it was happening. I think it's one of the most powerful experiences I've ever gone through because it really forced me to look inside and like to find a deeper purpose and not just, I've always been told, oh, you're a beautiful girl, you're a beautiful dancer, but that's not my whole identity. And I really had to dive deep inside and also figure out like, how the heck am I going to heal this and get on the other side of this? Because the doctors were like, well, you could just be permanently paralyzed. Like you may never get your face back. And I didn't want to live with that. I was like, no, we're going to get it back. So, the very first thing I always do whenever I get sick, and even especially in this situation, is I get really serious about my food and I cook every single thing from scratch at home, the healthiest, like no sugar, no alcohol, no, getting back to alkaline diet. And thank God I had the Salad Master cookware because it really saves you a lot of time and keeps more nutrition in the food as well. And within 6 months, I was fully healed. Like I could still tell it was not 100% perfect, and I don't think it'll ever be fully symmetrical again, but like from an outside person just meeting me, they were like, no one would know that I had gone through that.
Yeah.
And the pain lasted for probably 1 to 2 months, like really horrible pain.
Right.
But yeah, it was like a really intense but life-changing experience. And definitely the food was a huge part of my healing process because I did a lot of things too. Like I did acupuncture and I went to all kinds of healers.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most powerful healing things I did was just powerful positive thoughts.
Yes. That's
And
my world.
yeah, like affirmations, like, visualization that I was healed and
Yeah.
that it was no long, like instead of living in that pattern of like, because people would ask, oh, what's wrong? Because they would see me and my friends and then I would tell the story and I was just reliving that story of like
Yeah.
negativity. And so when I changed the story and I changed my thoughts around it and envisioned myself whole and healed, there was a big noticeable difference in the paralysis part, at least. So that was really powerful and cool.
Beautiful. So, God, your story is really dramatic. and I haven't heard it in a long time. Thank you for sharing that. So, I want to focus, if we could now, one of the things that I've enjoyed learning from you the most is that the cookware that so many of us have in our pantries, in our kitchens, that we think is safe,
Yeah,
um, is actually not safe. And what I've learned from you that is so fascinating is the potential connection to very serious diagnoses as we age, but it can happen before, right? Like when I look at my life prior to the cancer diagnosis and I look at how many years I was cooking on nonstick cookware, and I look at how many years I was wrapping food in aluminum foil and eating out of tin cans and dealing with mercury in my teeth, like it's no wonder. And then, the whole, not just my own cookware, but my mom's cookware, right? Growing up decades in my mother's home.
yeah,
Anyways, so that's been a fascinating piece for me. And that was really the draw for tonight's talk is is the cookware in our kitchens making us sick? And I'd love for you to speak to that.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, one of the things we talk about when we do these presentations is every time you're cooking, there's chemistry. So salts and acids in our food react with the material that we're cooking on. So whether you're cooking on nonstick, enamel, cast iron, Le Creuset enamel, whatever the surface is, stainless steel, there's going to be a reaction. And that's because that's the nature of the chemistry of cooking. Salts and acids react with the material. So the body is smart though, because we don't see it with our eye, but every time we're cooking, that chemistry happens. We eat the food. There's little microscopic bits of metals or toxins that go into our food. We eat however many times a day, maybe 3 times a day. When you eat the food, it goes down into our digestive lining, which is a paper thin lining. It's a super thin lining, so we can absorb nutrition through the lining, and it feeds you on a cellular level. But over time, as we're eating metals our whole life, and every time we're eating food, it breaks down the tight juncture of the gut wall. And then we get something that's called gut permeability or leaky gut. And we've all heard of leaky gut at this point. But the interesting thing about the gut is it's literally connects to every other organ in our body, pretty much. Like it's going to affect our hair, our thyroid, our hormones. It's going to affect our skin. And so a lot of times people have inflammatory responses, which could be headaches, nausea, gas, bloating, irritability, brain fog. And a lot of times we think, well, what's the last food I cooked it? Or what's the last food that I cooked that caused this reaction? But we don't always make the connection. What did I cook my food in that might have caused this reaction? So the missing link really is cookware. And we're just not really aware of it because no one really talks about it until you see a Salamaster demo. And then you're like, oh my God, I had a feeling, but I never really made the connection. I hear that a lot. Or people that just, they know the nonstick is bad, but they'll cook in it anyway, because really, like, how bad is it? So yeah, I mean, basically all cookware leaches to some degree. Do you want me to go into each type of cookware or?
Yeah, I that's what I love the most when you do these
Okay.
presentations is yeah, because people that are watching are going to be like, well, I have cast iron and I have
I know.
glass and I have copper. Like, what's she going to say about that, right?
Yeah. So I would say one of the most common cookware that also we think is probably pretty safe is stainless steel. And there are concerns with stainless steel because, first of all, how they source most of the metal, it's sourced from China. And they actually do what's called, like, they recycle materials, and you actually get second, third, or fourth run materials that go into the cookware. And so there's a lot of studies that have come out showing that stainless steel is radioactive. And this can be not just cookware, it can be household appliances. There's an article a guy wrote, My Radioactive Cheese Grater, because he goes around the house with a Geiger counter and he's like finding all these radioactive things. So that's one concern of stainless steel. Now, the product that I represent, it's only first run steel, which means you're getting the highest quality, there's no impurities in the metal. But stainless steel, doesn't matter what brand you have. You could have All Cloud, Wolfgang Puck, Rachel Ray, Cuisinart, Costco. They're all made from what's called 1810 alloy. So 18 stands for chromium and 10 stands for nickel. So they always add chrome and nickel to stainless steel because it hardens it. And then stainless steel does not conduct heat on its own. So they have to add either an aluminum core or a copper core. Now, if it's a copper core, it's usually like a slab on the bottom of the pan, and you'll see it on the outside. When we test those pans, it actually tastes like a penny in the pan test. So even though the copper's on the outside, you can still taste the copper coming through when we do a cookware test, pollution test. So
can I just stop you right there?
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing in my mind's eye that exact pan. And but copper is like, we have it in our body, right? So what is the issue with that, Marlo?
Well, so copper, just like iron, there's different forms. So there's the metallic form, which is not chelated for the blood. And then there's like the mineral form, which you're getting more from like a plant source or animals, like with iron specifically. I don't know as much about copper, so I don't know if I should speak to it much further, but copper has been linked to attacking the nervous system and creating nervous system issues.
Okay.
So I do have some studies on copper. It's also copper's linked to Alzheimer's as well.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So Dr. Neil Barnard, who is the founder of PCRM, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, we work with that company and teach those classes, which there's a cancer prevention survival program, reversing type 2 diabetes through diet, a heart disease program. His latest series on PBS is called Protecting Your Memory. And in that series, he talks about 3 cookware that are linked to Alzheimer's disease. And it's copper, aluminum, and unfortunately cast iron, which is like a very, very popular cookware, especially amongst health conscious people.
Yep.
We've been told it's like the healthiest cookware because you don't have a coating on it. However, it's not chelated for the blood. So you are getting heavy doses of iron, but it's not a good form of iron. It stores like a heavy metal in the body. And when they do autopsies on people that had Alzheimer's and dementia, they look into the brain and there's these amyloid plaques that block the neurons from firing. And when they look into the plaque, on average, well, first of all, it has both trans and saturated fats that make it hard. And then they also find aluminum, copper, and iron in the plaque. So there is a big link between heavy metal toxicity and Alzheimer's. And the big concern is it's on the rise. It's now the 5th leading cause of death in the US.
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's is, yes.
So whenever I post about this topic, people always go, I've got my cast iron.
I know.
I hear that all the time. And I'm like, yeah, my girlfriend Marla doesn't think that one is so great. Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but at the same time, I don't care. Here's what I know. This is an unregulated industry in the United States. And what's happening in the US in the food industry and in the pots and pans industry is they're profiting off of toxins, of selling us toxic products. And that to me is just so many shades of wrong, and there's no wondering why we're all getting so sick. It's unacceptable. And we can't wait for anyone to come and, save us. We've got to be the ones. So,
yeah. And actually cast iron, just to wrap up the cast iron, it's linked to leaky gut, like seriously, like because you're eating little bits of iron, it goes into, and it's a very porous material. And what do we season them with? We have to season them with oil or fat. That's what they say. Don't wash your cast iron, just season it. Well,
That's
you're
right.
reheating the same rancid oil over and over again into your food.
Oh.
We didn't even really, like, until it was brought up to me like that, I didn't even think about that. I just thought that's what you have to do, like, to make it work, the cast iron. So I'll tell you a quick story because my colleague, who's a cancer survivor, she healed naturally doing Gerson therapy, which is a cleansing protocol to reversing cancer. Did you end up doing Gerson for yours?
I did not, but I did do a lot of juicing and
Yeah.
coffee enemas. Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically, it's a lot of juice and coffee enemas. Anyway, she did that program and then she was healing her cancer, reversing it, and she had a lymphatic cancer and she was dealing with gut problems. She started having digestive problems. So she went to the naturopath and the first question they asked was, what cookware do you cook on? And she said, I cook on cast iron and stainless steel. And they said, you need to stop cooking on cast iron. It's destroying your gut lining. And she was shocked and said, I'm a chef. What am I supposed to cook on? You just like, and a mom, like you just changed my whole life. And they said, well, you should learn about Salad Master. So this same woman, she came and cooked for us when we were living off the grid. And we had the exact same cookware, stainless steel and cast iron. And I was dealing with digestive problems. I mean, part of my digestive problems started when I was younger, eating the standard American diet of, so many processed foods. And just in the 80s, 90s, like, parents didn't know as much about nutrition really. And the cookware we were using was horrible. It was a lot of nonstick, mostly nonstick cookware I was raised on. So anyway, I had digestive problems. So we got the cookware, we ordered, invested in the Salad Master system. And a month later, I was eating something that normally upset my stomach and I was fine. And I was like, wow, this is like healing my gut. This is amazing. And there's a lot of stories like that of people noticing improvements immediately in digestion, noticing the food tastes way different, like a cleaner flavor in the food, the quality, the nutrition. So anyway, that's cast iron. It's unfortunate because so many health conscious, even guru type health conscious people that have followings, they recommend it. And it's just unfortunate they're not informed.
Right. Will you say some, Marsha has a question here. Are you saying some stainless steel is okay?
No, all stainless steel leeches.
So,
Go ahead.
You can go ahead, Marsha. It's okay.
yeah, so I think I heard what you said is what you use is Salad Master. Is that right? Because
Yes.
I wasn't sure, but I looked that up and it says it is stainless steel.
It's surgical stainless steel with titanium. So
Okay.
it's a different alloy.
And what does that mean exactly?
So that's going into alloys. So most people are not metallurgists or engineers. So we don't necessarily, it looks definitely, if you look at it, it looks like stainless steel. So you're like, oh, it's stainless steel. It is surgical stainless steel, but they add in titanium, which makes it hard and non-porous. So the material that we're cooking on is the same material they use for hip replacements, dental implants, stabilizing pins or screws in the body. So it's inert and non-reactive. And then because of that material, it makes it act like a non-stick pan. So you can like cook chicken without oil, steak without oil. You can do a lot with it that you wouldn't be able to do with traditional stainless steel, because stainless steel, just normal stainless steel, is very porous. So yeah, it's different. I'm happy to set up a virtual with you if you want to learn more.
So,
yeah, you want to talk about other cookware too?
Yeah. So what about glass?
Okay, so glass cookware, all glass cookware has aluminum in it and even Pyrex. And that's because you got to think about it. If you put a glass on the stove and turn the stove on high, there's my glass there. If you turn it on high and you just have a normal glass, it's going to break, shatter, or it's not going to hold its shape. So they have to temper it, and they temper it with always aluminum, but some glass cookware can have lead as well. Okay.
All right. That's not good at all.
No.
No. So I want to talk about I want to segue now, Marlo. I want to talk about, when I met Marlo several years back, and she shared with me about this cookware. One of the things that was a massive selling point for me, who just received a cancer diagnosis, was that there was this doctor in San Diego that would send his clients home with a Salad Master cookware set. And that was really impressive to me. And so now that I've been cooking on the Salad Master for several years now, and my sister does too, which I'm really happy about. Because of course I love my family and I want them to be around for a long time. I'd like for my entire family to have Salad Master, but not everyone's ready for it. And I do understand that it took me many years. But I just want to impart like the tremendous amount of relief that I have in my kitchen now cooking on Salad Master. There's no question, there's no doubt. And saving time is absolutely, what is that? What is it you say? Low and slow? Like that's how it is with Salad
Yeah.
Master. Low and slow because of the titanium core that spreads the heat rapidly. So yeah, let's talk about what the product is and just a little bit. I don't want to go into it for too long because Marlo does these very, very in-depth presentations that test your cookware, that really educate you. I mean, the education around all this stuff, it's severely lacking in our culture. Why? Because, it is an investment to invest in Salad Master. And for most cookware, it's several $100s for a decent cookware set. And when you look at that versus what Salad Master is offering, most people are not going to make that investment. But when you have a cancer diagnosis and you want to live, you're going to make whatever investment you can to ensure that I'm going to be around a really long time for my children, and that this is actually a legacy gift for them after I go. This is going to my children so that they can cook on non-toxic cookware. So let's talk a little bit about, Marlo, the cookware, and then if you're interested, you're all going to be getting the replay of this, and Marlo will reach out to you. And if you want to set up a deeper meeting with her, you can do that. But will you talk a little bit about how you share the Salad Master and why you love it so much?
Yeah, I love what you said about it's a legacy cookware, because I say that now, like it is. And if you think about it, when people, like when I moved into my first apartment, my mom gave me a pan. It was not a Salad Master pan. I wish it was, but it was, whatever she was cooking on, that's what I got. And so we pass down cookware to our kids and our families. And why not have a legacy of health and wellness? Like, of course, that's what I want. So yeah, the product really, honestly, it sells itself. It's a great lifetime warranty product. So you invest once, you have it forever. I've had my set for 10 years. Jan's mom's had her set 13 years. Another friend of mine's had her set like 20 years. Like it doesn't break down. It's forever. So it's a great product. It really cooks your food faster in a semi-vacuum cooking system. So you're cooking on a lower temp, but you're retaining the nutrition because you don't have to cook with water and you're cooking on lower heats. So a lot of people don't realize like how detrimental steam can be for vegetables, but because it's above 190 Fahrenheit, it actually destroys a lot of the water soluble vitamins and minerals. And that's why, like when you steam broccoli, the water changes color in the bottom, it turns green. Those are your vitamins, and we lose flavor, which is minerals. So that's one of the things that's so different in our technology and cookware, is that the food is so vibrant, so flavorful. And I've had people tell me I never knew what broccoli tasted like before. So it's a incredible flavor that you get out of the food. It has perfect even heat. There's no pot watching or stirring. I love it because it has a nutritional, it tells you what temperature you're cooking at. So when you reach 180 Fahrenheit, there's a patented vapor valve on the lid of every pan, and it clicks. And when you turn it down to low, it traps the air inside, creates a vacuum. So for me, I am like all over the place, always so busy doing so many things, multitasking. And I used to always just like burn my food. I like walk away, forget I was cooking. But now I just drop it down to low. I can walk away, do other things, come back. My food's perfectly done. I haven't destroyed the nutrition or the flavor in my food. So it's really good for people that live a fast-paced, busy life. And for moms, anyone that's cooking a lot, it's really, really helpful. But there's so much more. It's like a whole it's a lot, but I just personally, I love it because we have a whole community we've built. I live in Northern California and we teach in-person cooking classes. We also do them on Zoom for our clients that are all over the country. They're twice a month on Zoom, 4 times a month in person. And we teach plant-based cooking. So we teach not only like healthy cooking, but delicious flavors and recipes. So people that invest, they get to be part of our cooking club and enjoy the inspiration of like getting new recipes. Because I think a lot of us, we get sick of the same food we cook over and over and over and over again. Most people have like 6 to 9 recipes they rotate. And so it's really fun to like meet other people that are on the same mission to learn to cook healthier. And I just find that it keeps me healthier when I'm involved and being a part of this. So
beautiful. Right on.
Oh, and I was supposed to talk about the doctor. So yeah, it's Dr. Dan Rogers. And so he's not legally allowed to treat people in America because it cures cancer. And they get people that are in like stage 4, like these people wouldn't normally go this route. I think a lot of the people that go do it because they wanted to do the traditional chemo radiation route. And then when they have nothing else to lose, they go down there, and he treats in Mexico. So he's got an office in San Diego, and then they actually treat people in Mexico, like over the border. But I think someone comes in and does a Salad Master demo. So they're given the opportunity to invest in the cookware. And they use it in their facility as well. So in the Gerson clinic, they've got all Salad Master in there. And he's a big fan because he's seen like how important it is. Because the whole point of that whole Gerson system, like when you go to their clinic, they're detoxing you from metals. Like they're detoxing chemicals, metals, toxins that are in the body. And some of the rooms, when people do, because they'll be in there for a couple of weeks, I think, I think it's a couple week program. They have to paint the rooms because so many toxins come out of people's skin. Whoa. But they literally have to repaint the treatment rooms often because it's just people are releasing and shedding so many toxins. So his whole thing is like, well, you're clean, you're toxic free, you did the whole program, but now when you go home, are you just going to keep getting more toxins in your body from your cookware and from other daily things that we do? And cookware is one of the things we can control. We can't really control the air. We can't really control the water. We might be able to get a water filter, but cookware and cooking is something we absolutely have control over. And it's something that a lot of us do every single day in our home. And that should be the cleanest surface because it's a daily activity.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you for speaking to that, because that really had an impact on me a couple of years ago, and it kind of sealed the deal for me, to be honest with you. So, Marcia, did you have any final questions before we part?
Yeah, I was just so the stainless steel that's in this is called Salad Master, is that right?
Yes.
So it's different than any other stainless steel because it's got the titanium in it. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Great. I mean, that I've used stainless steel because I thought that was the thing that was the best.
Of course. Yeah.
I think that the key piece for me with the stainless steel with Salad Master is that's medical grade. And when you hear that, and all the things that you just mentioned, Marlo, about all the different pins and what have you that doctors put inside of us, that the body won't have a negative reaction to, that's important, I think. And titanium, I mean, I've known about the magic of titanium for a long time because my brother-in-law is all about it. So I think it's the dual action of the medical grade stainless steel with the titanium core that allows for this beautiful cooking experience. And I also love that it's a nutritional system, Marlo. I think that's really something to trumpet as well, that it helps to maintain the nutrition of the food that you're cooking versus what you were just mentioning, leaching the nutrition out of the vegetables, right? So I think that's a beautiful piece as well. So, and again, Marlo does these 90-minute presentations that can be done for you and Roy, Marcia, where you can really dive deep and learn all that Marlo knows, so that you can make a supremely educated decision about whether or not this is a fit for you. So I want to thank you for coming, and thank you for your time, Marlo. It's always a pleasure. And bless you for the work that you're doing to help educate everybody about what's going on with our cookware. You're doing amazing work.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for having me. It's good to meet you, Marcia. I hope we can connect more. And yeah, I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, I'll be doing these quarterly, everybody. So, all right. All the best to you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank
Night.
you,
Thank you.
Stephanie.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.